afternoon. On behalf of the family of Reverend David Johnson, welcome to this service in remembrance of the beloved husband, father, grandfather, minister, and colleague to many, who is Minister Emeritus here in Brookline and also at the Union Church of Tucson, Arizona. Reverend David faithfully served First Parish of Brookline for 15 years from 1988 to 2003, and our congregation will have our own commemoration of his life and service here this fall. It is never easy to lose a beloved family member. The loss of a patriarch is the kind of milestone that none of us looks forward to celebrating. The loss of a much-loved minister is also a sad milestone. Yet today is a time to celebrate the life of Reverend David Johnson with the sharing of cherished stories and memories, which is what we are here to do today. After the service, the family welcomes you to join them and share more of your memories and stories at a reception in Lion Chapel through this door to my left. Please also be sure to sign the guest book. Now we open our service with the words of the poet Mary Oliver. This is her poem, Angels. You might see an angel anytime and anywhere. Of course, you have to open your eyes to a kind of second level, but it's really not hard. The whole business of what's reality and what isn't has never been solved and probably never will be. So I don't care to be too definite about anything. I have a lot of edges called perhaps, and almost nothing you can call certainty. For myself, but not for other people, that's a place you just can't get into. Not entirely, anyway. Other people's heads. I'll just leave you with this. I don't care how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. It's enough to know that for some people they exist and that they dance. Let us celebrate the life of David Johnson together.
Good afternoon. My name is Clint Richmond, a longtime parishioner of this church, and I wish that I could greet you today with David's voice, which I'm sure you all remember. He had such a warm and ebullient way of bringing you into the congregation. He would always conclude the weekly announcements with the phrase, "and a hearty welcome to you all." He made First Parish part of his family. For example, there was no limit to his enthusiasm for Thanksgiving and Christmas. He prepared turkeys for our annual feast. You could see the many, and I mean many, multiple floors of Christmas trees twinkling inside the parsonage. He duly thoughtfully invited anyone to join them at their holiday celebrations at the parsonage. Let us remember and hold his joyful presence with us today.
A lot of you probably don't know who I am. My name is Eric Johnson. I'm Dave Johnson's son, his middle son. So I'm also the father of a developmentally disabled adult and 3 beautiful daughters. And I'll apologize in advance. This is family remembrances, and the mixture of family and professional is a thing that happened in our family. A life of servitude does that, and a life of activism does that. The weekend before my his family in Marietta, Montgomery, and his family. This was not eventful. These are just friends that were coming to meet. And when my dad passed and I started putting together what life had been and what this journey had been like, it dawned on me. You know, I was born in 1967 in Bloomington, Indiana. 1967 was a tumultuous year, right? 1964, the Civil Rights Act did pass. And when I was born in 1967, interracial marriage still wasn't legal. That wasn't until later on in 1967. Forget Fair Housing Act. These friends at the pool were Indian, Hispanic, African American. Would we have been in the same pool? It wasn't. These aren't my African American friends or my Hispanic friends. These are just friends. You know, while we have not gotten to where we need to be on some of these issues, the world is such a different place. And not because of people like him, but because of him. 1965, he had marched in Selma, Alabama, right? So this, which is one of the reasons we left Bloomington, Indiana, that they weren't very friendly to us at that particular time after that happened. And we moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania was a wonderful place. It was a fun place to grow up as a child. That's where I learned this game that I played in my dad's library. And it was called, I would search through the stacks, for those of you who know my dad, search through the stacks of books, 3 deep, 12 down, and find the title of the book. And then I'd play this game. Dad, where in this wonderful library is that book? He would know. He would know. Third stack back, over to the left, down there. It was quite amazing. This was also a time of change in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Why did we leave Pittsburgh? This was a clean era, right? In 1970s, in Pittsburgh, with the steel mills going on, and without those scrubbers, me and my brothers were in oxygen intense a significant amount of the time. You could not breathe. This was time of acid rain. This is time when you're going out and playing and you come back with your feet black, and your hands black, and everything black. And with asthmatic kids, that did not work well. So hence we moved to Tucson. When we moved to Tucson, this was where most of my upbringing was. This was a beautiful and wonderful time with a huge amount of nice, wonderful memories. This was where some of the photographs that were here, Unitarian Weekend down in Rocky Point, where we got into nothing but trouble. Sorry to say it happens. This is when the Christmas ornament workshop was in full swing, and still to this day, you know, all the trees there, my tree at home, the most prized ornaments date back 30 years and were made at these ornament workshops. It was also a time when I learned a new game. The new game was called Don't Look in the Shed, because this was also the 1980s when Central America was not a nice place, right? And this was the sanctuary movement was in full swing. And I know other people will talk about these pieces, but this is on the personal side, and it was really a rule. There was probably a Guatemalan family in the shed, right? So this was part of just how we lived. So this is all intertwined. The civil rights and environmental action and issues on aging and human rights and mental health and adults with disability activism for every single one of those. So this isn't the activism of I'll go vote, but this is living it every day, living it with your world. And I'm not going to romanticize it. This caused difficulties in relationships, right? My brothers are not here today. And anything that's worth that much has a cost, right? And the costs are personal and the costs are all bad. But I'm here to say, you know, the world's a better place for my son. The world's absolutely a better place for my $3 and for everybody because of him. Not people like him as well, but because he existed, the world is a better place.
My name is Jim McConnell. I am Julie's oldest of the three, and she asked me to come up here and say a few words on her behalf. I'd like to thank everybody for coming here to celebrate Dave's life. And as I look out on all the pay their respects, I know he'd be very pleased. He was devoted to so many things in his life, as Eric put so well, but he was also very humble about his role in the church and in many other causes that he took along the way. Dave and I met right here in Boston in 1978 at a Union General Assembly. We became friends very quickly, and soon I visited his hometown of Tucson, Arizona, right around New Year's that year. The following July, I moved our family from Montreal to Tucson. Quite the move, not just the distance and the obvious change of scenery, but also bringing two families together who really knew very little about each other. Each of us had 3 children. On my side, Jim, Nancy, and Darren, and on Dave's side, Kirk, Eric, and Matthew. Life was definitely not boring. Luckily, for the most part, everybody really got along pretty well. It wasn't easy planning vacations either with 6 children, and given the size of the crew, vacations were really relegated to road trips and camping. Against all odds, though, everybody seemed to get along with each other. The kids bonded really well, and we were treated to some wonderful experiences and great memories that we still talk about today. We moved to Brookline in 1988 when Dave took over as minister right here at First Parish of Brookline. Living in the beautiful mid-1800s parsonage was such a great experience as well. It was far bigger than we ever would have needed, but as so happened, we often had numerous live-in guests, from interim ministers, church groups, visiting scholars, and others who just needed a temporary place to stay. They were always welcome at our house. It was really wonderful getting to meet such a diverse group of folks. Among those were Aaron Payson and his wife Kristen, who are here today, while Aaron was completing his internship here under Dave. Dave was really able to help build quite the congregation here, and I know he really enjoyed his time here. 25 years later, in 2003, David finally retired and moved to Providence. Most people's idea of retirement is finding some time to relax, finding a new hobby, taking naps, generally just slowing down a little bit. And I think most of you know, who know him well enough, know that Dave's version of retirement looked pretty different. I think he's able to serve as interim minister at least 7 different churches in the New England area. And in many ways, he's probably a lot busier in retirement than he was when he was working full-time. Still, I think he'd say that he really enjoyed those years just as much as during his career. Dave was such a great orator, and those who had the experience attending maybe sermons or one of the weddings that he performed knows that he was really in his element right here behind the podium. He was also an accomplished historian, often devouring books in a single day to feed his curiosity of past events, and he would argue people. Dave was also an activist, as Eric mentioned, and a very trusted ally to those who really needed help the most. He performed numerous civil unions before gay marriage was recognized legally, and was happy to do so. And he helped provide sanctuary to needy immigrants fleeing oppression and tyranny in their home countries. He was very active in his communities, whether in Tucson, Brookline, or any other cities that he served. And he was a caring father, and he was a good man. I will miss him very much, but as I mourn his loss, I'll always cherish the time that we had together. And as I continue to care for my gardens down in Providence, I know he'll be smiling down on me, and I'll continue to feel his presence for years to come. I'd like to also say a few words on behalf of my brother and sister. Nancy, Darren, and I were lucky enough to be brought into a new family in Tucson with David as a parent. In a lot of ways, we knew him better than we did our own father. It's been 40 years since we arrived that day in Tucson. And I think we all have very fond memories of our lives since that day. David treated us as his own, even when we didn't make it really easy on him. He taught us how to be kind, how to be respectful. He taught us how to do things we didn't know, how to do ourselves. He helped us when we went astray. and he was there for us when we needed consoling. Wasn't always rosy, and when needed, he was the voice of reason and authority. That voice came across pretty clearly. But in the end, he really made us proud to call it family. Personally, I remember a few things that Dave helped me with. He showed me how to tie a necktie for the first time, something he was pretty much an expert at, given how often he wore them. He took me to buy my first suit for my graduation photos. And while the baby blue color may not have been at the cutting edge of fashion, I really appreciated the effort there. Later in life, he offered to perform the ceremony when my wife Rebecca and I were married. That was an offer we gratefully accepted. When we told him we wanted a little bit more unique version of our vows than traditional, not only did he say, you can do anything you want, but he even gave us several different examples from which to choose. We ended up going with an Apache Indian wedding blessing, and based on our experience, I can definitely see why so many others trusted him to preside over the nuptials. Perhaps the thing I recall most vividly is his presence. He talked about it before. After 20 years of speaking publicly in front of large gatherings, the best advice I would give others on how to best deliver a presentation to a large group is always know your topic. I've seen Dave speak many times, and it was always clear that in addition to being a great speaker, he always knew his topic. My sister Nancy lived in the parsonage while she was going through college, and she recalls Dave being there really to engage in philosophical discussions. Yes, Dave was really good at that. And to lend his advice and support along the way. And when she moved out, I couldn't take her beloved cat Gizmo with her. Dave heartily agreed to take care of her. And when the time came to put Gizmo down at the ripe old age of 23, it was pretty clear that Gizmo was Dave's cat. My younger brother Darren was just 5 years old when we moved from Montreal to Tucson, so in a lot of ways, Dave was really the father that he remembers most vividly. Dave was always there to help him during these early years. And while Darren could sometimes be a little frenetic, Dave was always really patient with him. And I think that's something that helped Darren become the wonderful father that he is today for his 3-year-old son, Connor. Most of all, we remember that Dave was a great husband to our mother. We'll always appreciate the way he cared for her every day to the best of his ability. All 3 of us were touched in our own ways by the kindness he shared with us, and I know we'll all miss him very much. Thank you.
I'm Kay Ritter, and after I committed to standing here to say a few words about Dave, and I was beginning to panic, I went to look for some quotes on friendship. And it took me a while, but I finally hit one that shouted, Dave. It's a good friend is one who thinks you're a good egg, even though they know you're slightly cracked. That suited both me and Dave. I met Dave in General Assembly in Palm Springs in 1988, and some of my friends who were volunteer active with the service committee out in California were anxious to introduce me to this guy who was this great activist minister from Tucson, and they were particularly excited because, or knew I would be excited because he was moving to Boston. And since this group of friends and I, by association, were frequently considered troublemakers, it was easy to guess what they admired about Dave. As it turned out, Dave and I had a lot in common. We were both from Cleveland, and we shared a similar, irreverent, cynical sense of humor and disdain for hypocrisy. At the end of the week, I told Dave and Julia to be sure to call me when they got to Brooklyn, and very happily for me they did. When they arrived, Julie did a great job of organizing outings for the 3 of us, and we had a great time bits of nonsense that we found very funny, but seldom others did. And each one evoked Dave's wonderful laugh. And I'm sure we probably heard the eye rolls we got from Julie occasionally. And if you entered a crowded room, you would always find Dave instantly, because his booming laugh would shake the rafters. And I could always count on him. If I found something that I thought was funny, and everyone looked around and looked at me like I had 3 heads, I could always call Dave and be guaranteed to laugh. So Dave and I were frequently co-conspirators on any number of projects. Dave wrote books, and I have a background in graphic design, so I was able to put his books into print. And when there was an issue or a campaign to be addressed, we would brainstorm, and I would provide the graphic materials, flyers or buttons, promoting whatever district we were up to. And then the parsonage. Parsonage was always a behind the back. Friends, family, holiday gatherings, open houses, visiting ministers, student lodges, and Julie's Deep Corbett Home and Dave's Blueberry Pies. Dave's the only person I knew who could carry on a conversation about making pie crust from scratch and getting it right. I will miss his wit, his wisdom, his compassion. I say this to the end, but it would break up. His laugh.
Margaret Garcia, the past president of Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson, writes, and we continue a theme, I will miss David Johnson's hearty and infectious laugh that drew all those close by to him. His face would light up with a big smile and the conversation would begin. We had a marvelous 15 years in ministry. He created community with his Thanksgiving Passover when he cooked the turkeys, his interesting sermons and warm embrace of members and friends. He led us through some challenging times, like agreeing to allow the Metropolitan Community Church to meet on our property. And this was also the period of the sanctuary movement. David was in the thick of it. He led many conversations about sanctuary and how we could participate, played an important part in that movement. Our church building still bears the scars from the FBI breaking in looking for incriminating evidence. They never found any. David's use of UU history helped us through times of sorrow. For instance, in the death of our church president, Jenny Heidek-Teska, she died on the church grounds from an accident while building our playground. He helped us grieve as he told of all the misfortunes that occurred to early Unitarians in Transylvania and how our ideas and faith live on today. We could continue and even thrive after such a tragedy. Now we have our own tragedy, the untimely death of David. He had so much still to give to us all, to share of his wisdom that comes from confronting so many different situations, happy, troubling, sad, and mystified. I will miss him, as I know many others will as well. I will remember with deep feeling his reading of Dylan Thomas's A Child's Christmas in Wales, and live again in the pleasure of his voice and countenance. And J.D. Garcia, past president of the Tucson Church, writes, a young minister in the mid to late 70s, David worked hard. He liked crowds of people. Among them, he could mingle, pick up on something they were saying with a very solid contribution to the issue. He believed that sharing a meal promoted a sense of community. And if nobody stepped up to organize the church potluck, he would organize it himself. David was well-versed in community issues which reflected well the spirit of the congregation. One example is Pima Council on Aging, which he helped to co-found and also served as president. I'm sure he had many reasons to work to establish venues for care for the elderly, but Southern Arizona was even more of a retirement community than it is now. He talked the Tucson Interfaith Council into accepting representation from UUCT, even though some members of that body were opposed to godless groups being allowed to join. As a result, our congregation was included in the intergenerational Thanksgiving services which they sponsored, and a very rewarding experience which we enjoyed greatly. David Johnson was a good friend and a mentor, a strong leader, truly a person of wise counsel. He led our church to help with the sanctuary movement of the 1980s and to accept a gay congregation being able to use our buildings despite there being a significant conservative element of our congregation at the time. David had the courage to match his firm set of human values and the leadership ability to make things happen from ideas to reality. UU Church of Tucson was happy to elect him to be our minister emeritus. His untimely death represents a significant loss in my life to our congregation and I believe to the denomination as well.
This is one more memory from the Tucson congregation, from Darlene Matthews. How do you put a lifetime of memories into words, much less a paragraph? David Johnson was our minister, but he was also a dear friend. Our family trips to San Diego and Ocean Beach hold memories of the Grunion Run, body surfing, sailing, and deep-sea fishing. All so much fun. Our friendship took us around the world Lunitarian weekends in Mexico, standing on Hadrian's Wall in England, searching for the village of Ding Dong in Cornwall, experiencing the fall colors of New England. We shared life's happy moments and times of tragedy. We will miss him for the big moments, the holidays, the readings of A Child's Christmas in Wales, but most of all, we will miss him for all those little moments in life. The moments that collectively make us human. Moments that make us individuals unique to this earth. The tilt of his smile, the kindness in his voice, the bellow of his laugh, the accentuated pause before he shared his thoughts and wisdom. I will cherish so many memories of the quiet times with him. Myself, my family, and our community will miss him, but we all must know we had the best of him. And here are just a few of the very informal Brookline remembrances I received. This is from Landon Rose. David was our son Gabe's minister when we came in 1996, in the sense that he defined what a minister was to our son and to others whose parents brought them to First Parish at that time. He certainly was of an era. This is from Laura Walters, who I see here today. I'm sure you'll hear the big things about David. He was in Selma with the UU minister who was murdered, and he was very active in the early sanctuary movement in Tucson. But I want to mention how much the children loved him. He had a Christmas ornament making party every year. To this day, when we decorate our tree, says Laura, our daughter, who is now 35, says, we made these with David. Many people mention the numerous Christmas trees at the parsonage, the head's house, as well as the very warm welcome that David and Julie gave everyone who came there, making them feel as though it was theirs as well. Thank you, David and Julie, for the gift of sharing your home. Will you join with me in a time of prayer, meditation, and silence? Let us join our hearts in a spirit of prayer and gratitude. Spirit of life that moves within and around all that lives. Our hearts are full today. Full of memory, full of love, and full of grief. May those who grieve feel the presence of this beloved community, woven together here by all who knew David. And we remember that David placed his faith in the spirit of a beloved community through time and in time. May we rest in that faith. And may a healing spirit embrace those closest to David, his wife and partner Julie, his grown children, and especially his grandchildren. We pray that they are finding consolation and gratitude for all David's life has meant to them and to all of these people, both here and across the country. In the spirit of life, be with all of David's family, friends, and students who will each miss him in a unique way. And we take time to pause and bring a memory, a unique memory of David into our hearts and minds. The sound of his laugh, the shape of a smile, the feeling of just being in his presence. And together, we are bringing David's soul to life in this sanctuary. May each one of us find ways of living out the lessons that David taught with such dedication and passion. And in time, after grief and after grieving, we will ask, what remains? What remains of David? We will begin the work of remembering David, remembering that David taught us to do for our spiritual ancestors. Remembering is what he taught us how to do. May we remember him into being. May we always remember him with gratitude. And may we remember him into our own very being. And we enter into the silence together.
Rosine. And I am speaking on behalf of the Geezers, David's retired minister's support group. I'd like to invite the other Geezers to stand up. Sandra, please, Henry, Charlie Ortman, Buffy Boak, Tom Shady, and Ralph. For the last 2 years, we've gathered every month to share stories of our long ministries and lives, and to support each other through the transitions and challenges that retirement and aging have brought. As David reflected on his long and active life in ministry, he did so with passion, humility, and humor. He embodied extensively and expansively our Unitarian Universalist history, our challenges, our steps forward, our missed opportunities. We learned from him and loved him for his passion and service for so many years, his generosity of spirit, his ceaseless commitment to social justice. We also talked about the joy we found in family. David shared the energy he was putting into transcribing his father's handwritten autobiography and his personal memoir. But he talked most of all about his grandchildren and how proud he was of each one. Through all of this sharing, we grew to know David not only as a colleague, but as a supportive friend. We will miss him, but we are so grateful that we were able to spend meaningful time with David during these last years of his long life. We want to extend our deepest sympathy to his family and to all of his longtime friends. And now Ralph has things that he would like to share.
There are 3 retired Unitarian Universalist ministers who are members of the First Unitarian Church in Providence, and we're all here today. I met David when I joined him as a student at the Unitarian Seminary at the University of Chicago in the fall of 1961. I've had many occasions when I was called upon to speak publicly and never felt as inadequate to the task as I do today. David and I shared the view that while we were dedicated to helping people find some deep religious meanings in their lives, we also were pledged to inspire them to a personal commitment to justice. This would be the center of our ministerial work. We were comrades in spirit during those seminary years, but we soon went in different directions. His ministry was a church-centered one that took him, as you know, to Bloomington, Indiana, then Pittsburgh, then Tucson, then here in Brookline, and after to many other communities in Massachusetts. My community-based ministry was in Seattle. nurtured through secular nonprofit organizations, mostly with and for people who were not members of UU congregations. With thousands of others, David and I both answered the call of Martin Luther King in 1965 and traveled from the north to Selma, Alabama. Never having been in that strange part of our country, to add our bodies to those of local black people marching for the right to vote. We didn't comprehend just how dangerous that was going to be until in a line that was probably 8 across, there were local folks at the end of each row serving as marshals. And I stood next to a 12-year-old Selma boy wearing a white t-shirt and Levi's. And he looked me in the eye and he said, "Now when they come for us, you stay behind me." No, we didn't comprehend how dangerous that was going to be until a fellow minister and friend, James Reed, who you've heard a lot about, was struck in the head by a thud with a baseball bat on the sidewalk outside a black restaurant. David went with Jim and 1 or 2 others to the hospital in Birmingham and was there when Jim died. And I believe that that episode energized the core of David's ministries, the ones we've heard so well described today, fueling for decades the most courageous social justice work on behalf of racial minorities, Native Americans, the forgotten, elderly, poor, and new immigrants seeking refuge in our country. I want you to know that we were also both part of a secret network of ministers who help pregnant women find access to and money for safe but illegal medical abortions. Women who were often alone, sometimes abused and always frightened. In recent years, we discussed our shared horror at the prospect that our country is returning to those dreadful days. Well, having attended Antioch College, the Albert Schweitzer College in Switzerland, the Highlander School for Community Organizing, and having earned 2 master's degrees, David was better educated than me. He owned more books than I did and authored 11 on his own. I remember visiting him and Julie once in the late 1990s at that 10-bedroom parsonage here in Brookline. And I noticed that having filled up all his bookcases, David had still more books stacked on the steps going up our floors in that house. I always respected David for his devotion to history. For a parish minister rather than a university professor, David was more faithful to the relentless call of history than any colleague I have known. His work on 2 topics I consider especially significant. His coverage of the essential contributions of women to the liberal ministry, and his book about the importance of music, especially hymns, in Unitarian and Universalist worship. Few people know today that women were essentially blackballed from becoming Unitarian Universalist ministers in the 1970s and 80s, until the 70s and 80s. And David was an unofficial guide to groups organizing for the full recognition of women as ordained ministers. After decades of living in different parts of the country, David and I finally found ourselves close together again in 2014 when my Deborah and I moved from Pennsylvania to Providence. And there was David every Sunday morning sitting in the same pew in the First Universalist Church. Again, volunteering, David was on the church's history committee, preparing for the Providence Church's 300th anniversary next year. But more importantly, David contributed the insight of his experience as a sanctuary minister in Tucson to our committee preparing to become a sanctuary church in Providence, with shelter for asylum seekers fleeing to the United States from Guatemala, Nicaragua, and El Salvador. We will miss David, as you will, as a parent, spouse, family member, minister, friend, and we will lament the loss of his scholarship, collegiality, and as a sometimes cynical observer of human foibles. I will always remember that my friend had a good heart, shared honestly the fruits of his often brilliant mind, and was faithful to his calling. In grief, I stand here comforted by the words of William Penn, knowing that life is eternal, love is everlasting, death is only a horizon, and a horizon is only the limit of our sight. Amen.
In his manual on Boston driving, enter these gates with fear and trembling, David writes, the first rule is based on the recognition that you can't straighten out the whole world. And God obviously watched the job big time. Therefore, since New England theology, both of the Catholic and liberal Protestant varieties, God's work must be our own. You have to cut through all the crap around you and do what's necessary to make your little corner of the world work. If God hadn't somehow messed things up, you'd have everything you want to need, including unobstructed road ahead. You're just going to have to see your own part of creation works the way you want it to. Whatever that requires. You can explain it to the almighty later in case you cut a few corners and God's really watching. I mean, is God really watching? All the time? It seems fitting to me to begin this reflection on the life and love of my friend and mentor with the first rule. For those who identify as part of his legacy, the legacy of David's ministry, this would seem an ample reminder of his primary objective for all of us. There is much work to be done. Do yours with integrity, spirit, courage, delight, righteous indignation, and above all, love. It is the latter of these attributes that shines so brightly for me today. Delightful, raucous, imperfect, courageous, demanding, and prophetic love. David's career spanned more than 45 years. During that time, he was settled minister in 4 congregations and became an accomplished interim minister in 7 more, who delighted in serving in congregations in New England and preparing them for the next settled ministry. As we have heard today, David's passions were many. His love of books. Oh, his love of books. Born of his mother's love for such and encouraged in his early studies at Western Reserve Academy, where he began to collect the Nacian Library. It was also at Western Reserve that he began to awaken to his love of hymnody and ministry. Of this he writes, "It helped that my home church, the U Society of Cleveland, hired Reverend Jesse Cavalier straight from the Youngstown Steel Mills, a fallen away Methodist preacher, as his minister. What a wild character he was, pacing a teenage track star around the block and winning, taking his buckets, lacquer, and paint to repaint the front of a house just vandalized because the new owners were black, fighting the redlining of the neighborhood by realtors and defending radicals. He spoke out," says David. "I was privileged long years later to do his memorial service in Pittsburgh because no one else knew him that well. I once asked him why he never married. He said, 'I love brilliant, beautiful women and they see right through me.' I realized then," says David, "that ministry could be real and life-giving." The spirit of this awakening energized David and all those of us who are legacy to his ministry and still vibrates through the very memories we have of his many passions and service. He would later characterize the spirit of his ministry in many ways as tilting at windmills for over a half century. From his involvement in dismantling the Western Conference, or fighting the dismantling of the Western Conference, to the tragic death of Jim Reed, from addressing addiction in junior high schools to providing abortion counseling as part of the clergy consultation service that Ralph just mentioned, from work to establish public mental health centers to criminal justice reform, from the sanctuary movement to the Apache Cultural Affairs Council, from holding public office officials accountable for the work for the rights of the LGBTQI community, from the thorn in the side of the UUA and helping to establish UUSC work camps, from speaking out on ministerial misconduct to addressing the rights and roles of retired ministers and women ministers in our movement, from participating in Memorial Day ceremonies here in Brookline to advocating for candidates to be literate in our own movement's history. Throughout all of this, David's allegiance was to the integrity that he demanded from those he tangled with. And of this effort, he himself reflects. "I don't know how much longer I can tilt at windmills," he writes. "But my father was a crusty, cantankerous, outspoken troublemaker till the end, at the age of 95. Maybe I can keep up his tradition Though I can't curse in 7 languages as he could, he taught me to curse in only one by the age of 5. But I have always been able to use that one to good effect. My mother was a bright, furious, and outspoken radical for all of her 67 years, and she lost just about every battle. I guess I'll just have to keep on tilting at windmills. And he says, it must be 50 years since I was following George Spencer up the staircase at General Assembly, complaining about something the UUA was doing wrong as usual, and George turned around and said, Dave, beneath that nasty, bristling exterior, you really are a son of a bitch. Beyond the implied, undeserved slam at my mother, I've always cherished that observation, presuming George to mean that I never let anything much pass in the UUA without blasting it if I thought it deserved blasting. How right he was. And recently John Burns called me a denominational treasure. Well, which is it? Maybe both. For those who knew him best, it was not the bristling exterior that was most prominent, it was his love for our shared stories. He was, first and foremost, in almost everything he did, storytelling. And his desire for us to relish the fullness of our shared legacy through the uncovering and highlighting of the contributions of those previously absent from our common stories. Women, people of color, those whose labor was so often unrecognized but whose contribution often held the day. In my memory, it was David who reminded me that while Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote Self-Reliance, it was his wives, scribes, and housemaids who proved the word of contradiction in terms. Throughout it all, David too was supported and loved by his family and those who worked and studied with him. To his family, David would be the first to admit, I suspect, that he often fell short of the return of the love he so richly received from you all, with at least equal measure. To be sure, there were many times of turmoil and tremendous memories to be cherished. He was gloriously imperfect, and yet such a stunning spirit. The hardest part of being kin to such a personality is the sober balancing that is necessary to remember those we've lost in their wholeness. You deserve much honor for the places you occupied in David's orbit and for the gift of your love to his living. And so we honor you. Eric, Dave wrote about you and your brother's lives through all of his remembrances. And Jim and Nancy and Darren, you too are very much a part of what energized and inspired David in his work in the world. And Julie, David loved you dearly. It was your biggest honor. The welfare of all of you is so much a part of what energized him to strive to make the world a better place. One memory he recalls in his autobiography bears repeating. He writes, the boys loved to slide down the staircase on pieces of cardboard boxes and to slide down the unused pole chute onto old mattresses, and especially sled down the downhill street at the end of the block when the snow was so deep the cars couldn't use it. Kirk, with great enthusiasm, told me one day that there were 2 candy stores nearby. He thought there was only one. Little Eric was wonderfully playful. I'll never forget the block picnic one year when Eric and Matt disappeared. Suddenly, someone pointed at our roof, the third floor window, and the two kids sitting on the ledge with their feet on the gutter. I flew up the stairs and quietly crept up behind them and threw my arms around both of them and said, "Isn't the view wonderful?" But I made certain the window latch was childproof after that. Isn't the view wonderful? Seems to me a fitting epitaph for such an exquisitely raucous, gloriously perfect, delightfully celebratory life of service and of love. Like so much of the history David loved to tell, there is so much more that has yet to be said today, and I hope David will forgive me for what has gone unspoken and yet so important in the conversations that we will all surely have, sharing in the coming days and weeks, months, and years, and the reception following the service. For those of you who benefited from David's service and ministry and mentorship, I would close by reminding us of what David himself reminds us in the introduction to his booklet on the history of this parish. He includes at the end of his introduction, Governor Bradford, when he asked permission to set out for the New World, said, "We are knit together as a body in a most strict and sacred bond, and covenant by virtue of wherefore of do hold ourselves straitly tied to all care of each other's good, and of the whole by everyone, and so mutually. We are knit together as a body in a most strict and sacred bond. So be it then. So be it now. So be it evermore. Bless you, my friend. Amen. As we turn to our closing hymn and recessional, I would share with you the words that David himself composed related to the author of this hymn. Sarah Fuller Flowers Adams authored this hymn when her dreams seemed to be falling apart. She was a published author and poet and had just experienced a triumph on the stage in a role in Lady Macbeth. Her only sister suddenly died and her own health began to fail. Her minister, William Johnson Fox, encouraged her to explore the imagery of the story of Jacob in Genesis, with its ladder to heaven, having only a stone as a pillow and dreaming of a gate of heaven. It was immensely consoling as the verses reveal, "Out of my stony grief, Bethel I raise. Still all my song shall be nearer, my God, to thee." She continued her religious poetry and writing until her death in 1841, but her hymn was her most popular creation on both sides of the Atlantic, though to different music. The extraordinary Lowell Mason composed the tune we use now for this hymn, but it would not have been the tune played and sung on the Starlighters' Titanic as it sang. Would you please all rise together and join in singing our closing hymn and procession, "Nearer, My God, to Thee."
We were assembled in the Rose Pavilion at Ferry Beach, we lovers of our Universalist heritage, and we were having a first sing-through of the Teal Hymnal. And our great scholar of hymnody asked a question. For 200 years we've been singing about being a fearless people. For hundreds of years we've been certain, we've known progress onward and upward forever. What can it mean for our future if we are asked now to sing, "When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do. Then I may learn to care." Thank you, teacher.
Familiar poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson set to music. The chorus repeats back the last line of each stanza. You're welcome to join me. Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I set out to sea. When I put out to sea, when I put out to sea, may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound or foam. When that truth from out the boundless deep turns again home, turns again home, turns again home. When that truth from out the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dawn, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I am gone. When I am gone, when I am gone, may there be no sadness of farewell when I am gone. For though from out the bourne of time and place the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. When I have crossed the bar, when I have crossed the bar, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. When I have crossed the bar, when I have crossed the bar, I hope to see my pilot face to face
everybody.